Welcome to Digital Asset News. Take the top stories in cryptocurrency digital assets and break them down in bite-sized pieces. Today, there's some big moves going on in the space, and the first one is from Crypto.com. They are essentially eliminating the MCO coin and only going for the CRO. So that means if you're a holder, you're going to have to swap these out before November 2nd, and there's a lot of things going on with that also. Love them or hate them, Coinbase is huge, and when they start talking about adding new digital assets to the platform, people tend to stand up and take notice, and my big thing here is Theta, on top of all the DeFi coins that they are potentially adding in the next few weeks or even months. I want to take a look at all that, but first let's take a look at what's going on in the market. So today it is August 3rd. It's roughly 4 p.m. Getting things done late. A lot of things going on today. But we've got Bitcoin up 1.2%, but not really. It's really just haven't been moving sideways. It's around 11.2, 11.3, somewhere around there. Ethereum is below 400 at 389. XRP, 31 cents. Watch out. Tether, Bitcoin Cash, SV, don't know why they're there. Cardano, up 1.8%. That's great. Litecoin, up as well, 1.8%. Chainlink, 5.38. I think 876 might be one of the all-time highs for Chainlink. Check me in the comments section, but if it hits 9, I know it has never been at 9. Also, Binance Coin, Crypto.com is up, and not only is Crypto.com up, but the MCO coin that they are going to essentially eliminate, which is all the way down here, had a massive run, and now it is up 35% over 24 hours, so 36% for the week. So that is an interesting story, so why don't we just jump right in? So here we go, MCO swap. So this was in my email inbox. I had actually signed up for Crypto.com to evaluate the app and the wallet, and I'm still going through the paces. I actually had a sit down or a Zoom or a Google meeting with one of their heads of operations, and I just asked, her name was Bonnie, and I asked her a bunch of questions. Very intelligent person, knew a lot obviously about her product, but I just had some lingering thoughts, and I'm just kind of going through the motions of doing my due diligence, and I urge everybody to do the same thing. I know these types of apps and things that we get into in exchanges, they sound good, but when we start to really look down, we're like, well, hold on, what about this and what about that? And that's why, it takes me so long to do things, because first of all, I got a lot of other things going on, but second of all, I need to be secure in the things that I talk about, because if I'm just whipping everything out all nilly-willy, who cares, then that'll come back not only on me, but it'll come back on you. So, I want you to be safe, so I do all this due diligence, so people don't come back like, hey, this thing sucks, what are you talking about, this is awful, blah blah blah, does this. So that's what I try to do. And if and when something comes up that is good, I will always put it in my exchange fees and wallet evaluations. If you don't know, in the description of every one of my videos, there's a link that looks like this, and it goes through everything that I have used or am using currently, as far as exchanges, wallets, DeFi, CeFi, everything that I've ever done. And you can see my evaluation. So Coinbase, Celsius, Voyager, Gemini, Binance, Cash App, SimpleSwap, Abra, and then Crypto.com evaluating. So all these different things. And it'll even go through all the fees, and if you're going to get loans, or if you're going to do some kind of staking, how much you're actually going to get as far as percentage-wise. So it's all right there. My 1-2 punch, I've always talked about it, is Voyager. I love the wallet. It's so simple. It's so easy. To me, it's as easy as using Coinbase, and I like easy because I don't have the time to do all these different interactions and things like that. So Voyager, to me, is super simple. And then that's where I get everything, because it's free to actually buy it, kind of like on Robinhood. So I like that. And then if I want to get interest, I push over to Celsius, and I like that. I like Alex Mashinsky, the CEO. He's one that created Voice over Internet Protocol. He's a pretty successful guy, very dynamic, and really puts himself out there. So I like that. Now, Crypto.com, everybody talks about it, and sometimes it just sounds that great. You got to take a look at it, but you really got to put it to the paces, and that's where I'm at right now. And shout out to Sherman for writing a very detailed explanation of Crypto.com and why it works for him. So really, because of him and Bonnie is the reason why I'm looking so tough at Crypto.com. So we'll see. Anyhow, moving on to the actual email. So this was all about an MCO swap. So here's what's going on. You've got to swap all your MCO tokens before November 2nd, because after that you're going to lose the functionality. So I know that if you stake your MCO tokens, 500, 1,000, 2,000, whatever else it is, I mean, you get massive interest. So those are going away, and it'll just be the CRO. And I actually asked this to Bonnie when I was on the call with her. I'm like, why do you guys have 2 tokens? I don't understand what the point is. And she told me, she's like, well, you know, MCO was Monaco, and that was like our main push in the very beginning. And then we try to use the CRO token for the actual utility and using everything that's on it. And I'm like, why don't you just use that? And I swear this was on Thursday or Friday I talked to her. And then just this weekend, then they go to CRO. Obviously not because they talked to me. I don't know. It doesn't matter what they talk, but it was just weird timing. So now I kind of get it. I'm like, okay, you get rid of MCO, use CRO. Makes sense. Makes it simple. So one pretty important thing to note here is that Crypto.com will not perform the swap on your behalf, and the swap will not happen automatically. So what you have to do is you actually have to go into the app itself, and it'll have some information there right on the very front screen. It'll say, if you want to swap, click here, and you just do it. It's very simple for what I've seen so far. So it states here, there will be no change to the core functionality, but we are expanding MCO functionality and representing in 2 ways. Specifically, the MCO swap will involve combining the current functionalities of MCO with CRO's utility and technology in a one-stop shop. So MCO, for the limited thing that it did, and great that it was, they're just going to combine the 2 and just call it CRO and make it simple. So I like that. That makes a lot of sense to me. Why not? And this is important. MCO that is not swapped will still exist and circulate on the Ethereum blockchain as ERC20 tokens, but Crypto.com will no longer support these tokens, and no Crypto.com service or product will require or permit uses of these tokens. So they're just going to be ghost tokens, just sitting on the blockchain doing absolutely nothing. So very important to get in there and then swap your tokens. So here's how to do it. Log in the app, follow the instructions. That's it. Takes about 2 to 3 minutes. Can't make it easier than that. Complete by 2nd of November. Big thing. Fraud prevention. Completing the MCO swap in the app is the only method for swapping your MCO. You're going to see emails, you're going to see whatever else that you get as far as notifications, and it's going to be people are going to say, hey, we help you, or we're part of the team, we're going to help you with the swap. Obviously don't fall for that. It's only done in the app. Let me say that 2 more times. It's only done in the app. It's only done in the app by you. And then let's get on the good stuff, the swap formula. So what's going on here? So if you got 1 MCO, there's this nice fancy formula. Let's just make it simple. 1 MCO is going to be about 27.5 CRO. But here's the great thing. If you do this early, like today, which is only take you 3 minutes, so why don't you just do it right now, you get a bonus. And if you do it before 2nd of September, the participant, you, will receive an early swap bonus that is equivalent to 20% of the amount swapped at the MCO to CRO swap rate. So if that happens, you're going to get essentially 33 CRO for 1 MCO. Basic questions: what if it's staked? And it says no big deal. Simply follow the app's on-screen instructions in order to swap your staked MCO. So essentially you can unstake it for a bit, switch everything over, and then do it again as far as like staking if that's what you want to do. Sounds good to me. And it says, what if my MCO is held in exchange or external wallet? And if that's the case, you must transfer it into the Crypto.com app. Again, you can only do this in the app. You can only do this in the Crypto.com app, and that's it. And then it states what happens after the deadline. After the deadline on November 2nd, if you complete the swap, you'll receive CRO that represents all of the pre-swap MCO functionality and much more. I always like that when they say that, and much more. It's like one of those like as seen on TV type of things. And here's the big question. So what's the new staking tiers going to be? Because that is a big thing for everybody. And that is what I have seen as far as people who love Crypto.com. They say, well, you know, if I stake this much, then I get this much type of thing. So what's going to happen is they're going to do Ruby Jade, Ice White, Rose Gold, whatever, Obsidian Black. And beforehand, it was 50 MCO for the Ruby. Now it's going to be 5,000 CRO. 500 to 50,000, 5,000 to 500,000, 50,000. So, you know, you have a factor of roughly 100x to go. But it looks like about pretty much the same thing. So that is it. But there's just one thing to make mention, and this was actually from Crypto Briefing that I didn't even think about. And it states right here, Crypto.com is using a volume-weighted average price expressed in US dollars to calculate the MCO conversion. This is determined based on the month leading up to August 2nd and fixed at 27 point, like we just talked about. With the 20% early swap bonus, the rate increases to 33.17. However, the sudden hike in price over the last 24 hours negates some of the values of the early swap bonus, assuming the value of CRO stays relatively stable. And we just saw that from CoinGecko. It looks like it has jumped up a whopping 34%. So yeah, that's maybe they're going to adjust it, but I didn't see anything like that in the actual email, so here we are. And lastly, and I thought this was interesting, and I'll finish up with this, is that the value of the US dollar has been plummeting over the last month due to the coronavirus crisis, down 4% against the euro at 85 cents. And I know we always talk about, how strong the dollar is, and the economists say how great it is, but I got to tell you, over the last 3 weeks or so, we've seen the dollar weakening, so could be setting itself up for something major, but who knows? I'm not an economist. All right, let's move on to the next story. So next up, Coinbase continues to explore support for new digital assets. And I got to tell you, this was an interesting one because I'm not a big fan of Coinbase just because of all the outages and the crazy fees that they have. That's why I created that spreadsheet so people could have some Coinbase alternatives when they're ready. But when I saw this, and it talks about their continuing to explore the addition of new assets. Most of these, or if not all of them, are all DeFi except for Theta. So it's like they're just kind of jumping on the bandwagon like, oh, okay, well now DeFi is here and that's pretty hot. Let's jump into that. And when I was looking at this, I'm like, I wonder what they've done in the past. I've read these before. So looking back, this is on July 31st. If we look back at June 10th, 2020, take a look at all these different projects. And they were also talking about, we're going to possibly add something like this. And very few of those were actually added. I think, Compound, that was a big one, DeFi. But Digibyte, VeChain, none of those things were ever added. Let's see, what are these? Aave, Aragon, Bancor, Comp, Digibyte. Nothing. Synthetics, Scale Network, Synthetics, and VeChain. So I was kind of hoping for Digibyte and VeChain, but that didn't happen. And then if we look even farther back, September 19th, we've got all these different ones that they were looking at. Oasis, Near, MobileCoin, Cadena, Handshake, nothing. Polkadot, Solana, Space. Out of all these, they added Orchid. And I think why they added Orchid is because they invested in Orchid. So that's kind of crazy, but whatever. And then lastly, this was all the way back in 2018 when they first started this. They were talking about adding Cardano all the way back then. They still haven't done it. So, and CVC, DAI they did. They did Chainlink, IOST, EOS they did, Stellar they did finally after a long time, Augur, and XRP Tesos. So, that was like 2 years ago. Geez. We're talking about a long time ago. Out of all this time, they've had a limited amount of what they actually talk about they might be adding and what they actually do add. So let's just take a look here. So Coinbase's goal is to offer support for all assets that meet our technical standards. If you don't know what their technical standards are, it looks something like this. And I always said, under 2.1, I always thought that the reason why they didn't list Cardano was because they needed at least a working alpha or beta product on a testnet or mainnet. So I was like, once they get the mainnet, they'll definitely list them. But as you can see right here, they are kind of like, no, not even considering it, which is weird because not too long ago they were talking about adding it. So I got to tell you, they're talking about these types of things. I think they've already got it in play, because there was just an article a couple months ago where they had talked about doing custody for Cardano, so I don't see why they wouldn't list it. However, they don't talk about it here, but hey, whatever. So it's a pretty lengthy type of process about what they have, make sure that it's decentralized. Where is it? I know it said something about the network is public, decentralized, and enables trustless consensus. So for all the people that hate XRP, well, it's on Coinbase, so what are you going to do? And then all the different criteria here. So that's all the things that they go through. But so moving down, this is what they're actually looking at. So today we're announcing that we're exploring the addition of a range of new assets, including Ampleforth, Band Protocol, Balancer, Blockstack, never heard of, Curve, Fetch IE, AI, Flexicoin, Helium, Hedera Hashgraph. I've heard great things about that. I've listened to the creator. It just sounds like next level stuff. That could be big, but I'm not for sure. Kava, Melon, Ocean Protocol, Paxos Gold Reserve Rights, The Graph, Theta, UMA, and WBTC. And I got to tell you, a lot of these things, if you look at CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko, look at CoinGecko, you're going to see a lot of these have pumped already just by the mere mention of it. So the same thing happens if you're new to the space. Just know that if they do get listed, you will see an amazing pump, the Coinbase pump, and then they'll go right back down to where they were. So you can make a, If you're into that type of thing, I am not. But be careful, because you might FOMO in, like, oh, it's going crazy high, I got to get it now. No, it's going to go back down. That's usually what happens. So just be safe with all that stuff. So that's the big thing. And I got to tell you, looking at these projects, they're pretty interesting, especially like Wrap Bitcoin. It's talking about the flexibility of, Bitcoin with an ERC20 token on the Ethereum network. It's pretty good. And then I was looking at Reserve, and when I saw this, I'm like, flexible pool of stable coins, and not only that, send money across borders. That sounds like something XRP does. So a little competition as far as that in Stellar. And also with Melon, Asset Management 3.0. I was taking a look, and pretty interesting. Kava. When I opened up Kava, the first thing I was struggling, like, wow, Binance Coin 45%. Today's rates. What the heck's going on here? So something to take a look at. And then Theta, one of my picks that I think could be like a sleeping giant. And if you take a look at that, it's all about the infrastructure as far as how they do with streaming services and Theta. Now, some people will always call it a scam. There's always going to be one or two that'll call it a scam. But, you have a lot of good people behind it. Steve Chen, co-founder of YouTube. And they got a lot of little partnerships like on Theta TV, G Fuel, different things for gaming. So I like this project. Looks pretty interesting. And then another one, Hedera Hash Graph. And the way that it talks about these types of things, and as far as like, first generation, second generation, third generation, don't get caught up too much in this stuff, because like people will always be like, oh, this is the next big thing, and this is the next big thing, this is the next. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. I was around when the internet came about, and I got to tell you, we didn't think there was going to be that many websites, honestly. I'm just telling you, because we're like, oh, it's just going to be a couple. We're going to have, Yahoo, maybe some Hotmail here and there, maybe AskJeeves.com. But we didn't think it was going to be like what it was. You can't even fathom how big things can become and how much they can expand. But I will tell you, I remember that every different website was like, we're the next big thing, we're the next big thing. And a lot of those went away. So you only see, a handful that are really making the enormous amount of money, but are actually functional. So the same thing here, first range, second range. It sounds awesome, but I'm going to warn you that a lot of these projects may actually go away. So just be careful. And the other one that I saw that was pretty interesting was Ample. And I really need to do a deep dive into this, because it just talks about the flexibility of money and having it retract and have a stable, and actually the total cap of the coins are not actually fixed, and they do fluctuate. So it sounds kind of odd when you first hear about it, but when you really go deep into it, it looks pretty interesting. So I need to do a deep dive in that one. That'd look pretty interesting. So that is the big thing. But lastly, and then we'll finish the video, I will say this, that what I just said when I said, a lot of these projects are going to go away, right? We used to talk about it was 99.9% were going to go away. But with DeFi and different advancing things that are coming about, there might be an opening for a lot more things to be functional and to actually make a lot of sense and people's lives a lot easier. So when I got in, it was all about currency. It was all about the cryptocurrency. This is back in 2017. So you have to understand, what I bought a long time ago is going to do well, I believe, but there's room for other things to do massively well. Will I get into them? Yeah, maybe. But for right now, this is why I have these certain projects. Bitcoin I always see as like the first one, and it's going to be the one to pop off. Don't think it's going to actually be a reserve currency or a currency at all. I think it's going to be a store of value, just like digital gold. Ethereum, I see it as just like everything's built on Ethereum. So why don't we just use the Ethereum network and use it for smart contracts? Now, if Ethereum fails, then there's other things on my list like a Cardano, like an EOS, like a Tezos. They are the next generation of smart contracts. So one of those is going to hit. Don't know what it is. That's why I hedged my bet. And XRP and Stellar, I did those because I thought, well, everybody needs some type of cross-border payments. XRP is more for like the banker's coin, as they talk about it, and helps with banks. The banks aren't going away. They suck. They're not going to go away. And then Stellar, I kind of saw as more of a helping to bank the unbanked. So I like that whole project. And then Chainlink, of course, was all about the API, because if we're going to do smart contracts, you can't pull external data into the blockchain without some type of oracle, and Chainlink's the first one, kind of like Bitcoin being the first one for cryptocurrency. So I'm going to roll with Chainlink. And then lastly, I just added VeChain because I have an Amazon business, and I can tell you like this, the logistics and tracking, and especially of counterfeit and everything else, is huge. There's been numerous articles about it, and I got to tell you, I lose so much stuff in Amazon, and Amazon can be a real pain, but it can be very lucrative. I will just tell you that. But if I can have a better tracking system like what VeChain has, and I'm sure everybody's going to say in the comment section, but have you seen this one called, Potato Foot? Oh, it's awesome. Potato Foot's awesome. You got to get into Potato Foot. Whatever it is. But VeChain's the one that's doing a lot of different partnerships, and looks like they really are progressing. So I'll stick with VeChain right now. If something comes along, sure. And that's why I have what I have. So I hope that makes sense. All right. I know that was a little bit long, but thanks for sticking with me. I really appreciate it. So just so you know, I want to say thanks before we take off for all the subscribers. If you don't know, there's a subscribe button underneath, and it just doesn't give you anything special. It's just it's $1.99. It's like a tip, and all these, for the people that do it, I just give random shouts out. So for the new guys and gals, Patrick, Victor, Ricky, Fuja, hey, welcome aboard. Mark Reese as well. And then we got Chuck C. Who else we got? M.A. Joseph F. We got Eat My Shiz, Jack Allen, and then Gary Camire, and Sandra Panduro. All right, so that's it for today. Thanks so much for watching. If you like this type of videos, there's going to be 2 ones going to pop up your left and right. Don't know, because YouTube has control over all of that. I don't make those choices. Just like the ads that you see, if there was a scam that popped up, a scam video, I have no control over that. YouTube does all that. So they do the videos, the advertisements in the beginning, middle, and then nothing to do with that. But if you like my videos, check those up too. And that's it. Thanks so much. See you in the next one.